Welcome to another episode of the SportsBros Podcast, featuring the almighty B Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. The SportsBros Podcast is a sports podcast that's by the fans, for the fans, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the SportsBros. It's another fine and wonderful Tuesday. You know what that means? It's time once again for your favorite sports podcast, none other than the SportsBros Podcast. I go by the name of Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC up in this thing, your host with the most. Well, all depends on what day of the week you catch me, because sometimes I might have it, sometimes I might not. Enough of my inconsistent and incoherent rambling. Not only do I have one, but I have two of the best coaches in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B Live.
What's happening, what's going on in the world today. I'm gonna try something out real quick.
Okay.
In homage to my man Scottie D, I'm gonna try this out. This is not necessarily how he does it, because I'm not necessarily singing, but I'm quoting a part from Pokemon. Have you ever seen a Pokemon cartoons? Pokemon cartoons?
I
I don't know
have.
what that is. I don't know what that is.
Well, this is in homage to what's going on in the sports world. Team Rocket blast off again. The Red Rocket is in the saddle.
Yeah.
Have you not? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Bryce Young has. He has been benched. Andy Dalton is at the helm. He is QB1 for the Carolina Panthers. I said this should have happened last year, but nobody listened to me. Let the man develop. Let's work on something. But now you just gonna kill the man. You know what? Scottie D, bring us in the best way you know how. Let me hear a good old song from the pit, like, because I know you're in a great mood after what happened on Sunday, right? Is that how? No, maybe not really.
And here he is. Before he gets started, he is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, sporting a Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirt. Boy, look at here, look at here, look at here. He's the one. Yeah, I saw it, but I wasn't going to say nothing until he popped it up. He is the one, the only, the money man, Scottie D.
Free falling now, I'm free falling. That's Jared Jones' theme song. My theme song is, woo, we beat the Lions, baby. We beat the Lions on Sunday. 2-0, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
In Detroit.
Here we go. It's a whole new world with Baker Mayfield.
Let's not talk about Baker Mayfield. I don't care about any of that.
2-0.
Baker Mayfield, 2-0, former Panthers quarterback.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, 2-0, former Panthers quarterback.
Yeah.
We had them on our team.
Both of them.
Lots of surprises in there. Yeah.
And well, let's try Andy Dalton out now. Let's see how he does. And
former Cowboy.
52 years, and you choose this is the route you want to go. You want to switch teams after one bad game? Is that what we're doing?
One? Do you know that the Cowboys in their last two home games have given up over 40 points each time? The last two. The last game against Green Bay last year, and to open the season this year against the Saints. So I have to be honest. I actually miss the days where a Cowboy loss would depress me. There was a day that I would be down and be hanging my head till about Wednesday, and then I was just like, yeah, that's how it goes. It's the definition of insanity. You go out and you lay a big old egg to end one season, and what do? You bring back Dak and McCarthy and less running backs, and you have a lesser team than you had a year ago.
You got Zeke Elliott back.
Jerry Jones says we're all in one breath, and then says Dak's gonna have to do more with less this year in the other breath. So, well, he has turned into a feeble, senile, silly old man is what Jerry Jones is. So Jerry Jones actually said this the other day. I will say this: anytime that we've made players the highest paid player, key players such as Troy Aikman, the highest paid player in the game, we've won Super Bowls. Now, are we really expecting that? He just
it's only one game. It's only one game.
He continues to say silly. But it's not one game. It's the same team as last year that couldn't win a playoff game. And I'm embarrassed that they're doing what a performance in front of Tom Brady. They did that in front of Tom Brady on Sunday. How embarrassing. Former Buccaneer great Tom Brady.
Before we jump into the top of the order, because I know Eddy Kool's ready to run with it. I got to say this, though. And when you put it into perspective, I mean, the Cowboys lost to the Saints 44-19.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers lost to the Saints 47-10. So the Cowboys...
Not much difference there.
Allowed 3 less points and scored 9 more points. The big difference between the two, 4 years, $240 million with $231 million guaranteed. That ain't no day.
Let's go, Baker. Let's go, Baker.
Rookie contract. And the word on the street is that Bryce Young's era, the era of Bryce Young in Carolina could be over. If Andy Dalton comes out and does some amazing things, a lot of people are gonna be like, well, it ain't looking good for you, Bryce.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yep.
Dalton's a quarterback who in his prime also never won a playoff game. All right.
Exactly.
Let's move to the top of the order, shall we?
You're right about that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and hop or crawl or drag right into it, the top of the order.
All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order.
Week 2, fellas, has come and gone, except for the Monday night game, which should have been a good game between the Dirty Birds and the Eagles of Philadelphia. 2 things happened this past weekend, gentlemen, in the world of the NFL. Somebody won by a lot, and somebody won by a little bit. So we got a lot of 2-0 teams and a lot of 0-2 teams. All right, so I pose this question. Of the 2-0 teams, which teams are we surprised to see 2-0? And on the backside of that, what teams are we surprised to see at 0-2? With that being said, B Live, I'll start with you first.
To be quite honest, the way the season's set up, the way the season, and we all said it. We all wrote them off because they were starting with a rookie quarterback. They really only had one wide receiver target that was, I mean, of course, he's otherworldly. We didn't believe in anything that they were doing. And somehow, some way, after their rookie quarterback gets hurt, they find a way to be 2-0, and in actually sort of convincing fashion, the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, what are they doing up there? Mm-hmm. To be perfectly honest with you, they shocked me the most out of all the teams that are 2-0 because it just Sam Darnold. I mean, this was also one of those years where Minnesota almost pretty much said that they don't have anything to lose because of the fact that they were going in with a fresh quarterback, and then he got hurt, and then so now we're on our backup quarterback. What do we got to lose? Mm-hmm. If we win and do some things, then hey, we're playing with house money. If we lose, then we were expected to lose. They're 2-0 right now, and I can see them doing a lot more than just 2-0. They're not playing like a team that's an afterthought. Mm-hmm. They're not playing like a team that we put in last place in their division. Minnesota Vikings give you something to believe in. Skull. Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's a good one. And the reason I'm surprised with 2-0 is simply for the fact that I didn't think they'd beat the 49ers. That was just a game I didn't think they'll win. I think when you get to mid-season, I don't think we'll be talking about them as a contender. I'm still writing them off just because I'm not trusting Sam Darnold. I mean, I've seen too much of him to say, oh, he's going to keep going. Minnesota is a really good team, though, I think, other than the quarterback position. And that was quite a throw he made to Justin Jefferson. That 97-yard touchdown play on Sunday was sweet. It was a great throw. And
that's what I'm saying. He's got to get the ball out there to him.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson is that dude, but he has to put that air on the
Yeah, that was it was a great throw, and it was a great play by Jefferson, and then he got hurt again, which is a little discouraging. For that same reason, I would say I'm surprised the Buccaneers are 2-0 because I didn't anticipate them beating the Lions in their place. I would say the Saints being 2-0 is the most surprising, not because they are 2-0, but how they are 2-0. The Saints are plus 62 point differential right now. They scored on 14 straight possessions over 2 games. That's unbelievable. That's outstanding. And it just goes to show you, whenever you decide, like Mr. Jarrah, I'm going to go with an old school, been around the league 55 years defensive coordinator like Mike Zimmer, and he goes up against a good young, hungry offensive coordinator like Kubiak. Young blood came out on top of that. And I hope Mr. Jarrah remembers that next year whenever Mike McCarthy doesn't have a contract any longer and he's looking for some young blood. I hope he looks to the Saints offensive coordinator position as a possible candidate going forward, because that dude just outcoached everybody on the field the last 2 weeks. So that, I would say, and the Saints are a team also I didn't even consider picking to win that division. I mean, I was like, maybe Tampa might be good again, but I think the Falcons are going to be ready to take the next step. And the Falcons, while we haven't seen as of right now, we haven't seen what they have done in week 2, but their week 1 was kind of an egg. And the team I'm most surprised about being 0-2 was the Rams, just because I didn't see them losing to the Cardinals like that. They got smoked. And their point differential is negative 37 right now. And I was expecting a little bit better from the Rams out of the gate. I know they're a little nicked up. Nakua's hurt. Stafford's limping around. I think Cooper Kupp got hurt again. But they were just smoked right off the field. They were never in the game against the Cardinals on Sunday. And that surprises me a little bit because I hold their coach in such high esteem. I have a very high opinion of Sean McVay. Eddy Kool, who you got there?
I'm going to go ahead and say it. The New Orleans Saints, a team that we picked to finish at the bottom of their division. We did pick them to finish between us and them at the bottom of the division, but look who's laughing now. So hopefully by week 4, somebody can figure out, hey, Rashid Shaheed, we might need to put a body on him. We might need to double team him, because I looked at Rashid's some of his stats and like, this guy was an all-pro last season. Yeah, he was a whole all-pro last season. He was returning kicks and got involved in the offense. And now with Michael Thomas no longer being there, he has even bigger role in the offense now. You got Derek Carr looking like the Derek Carr of old, the MVP candidate, like B-Live said a week ago. And then we got Alvin Kamara, who people thought was washed and done. I tell you, man, if they keep clicking, if they keep clicking like this, man, they're going to be a big problem outside the division, but also for the conference as well, too. Because you got to think about it. They scored 40-plus points in 2 games. At home and on the road, which means we don't care where we're at. We're gonna drop these 40 on your head and hope you do something with it. I mean, they decided just beating people, and the defense has only given up 29 total points. So that's you really gotta be careful about those Saints, man, because if they're sneaky, man, if they, I'm telling you.
But between the Saints and Vikings, don't you find the Saints more believable? Don't you find?
No, of course.
No doubt.
You buy into them more.
Wow. I bind them. I bind to the Saints more because, like, of the pieces I just mentioned, we know what their potential is. But Minnesota's kind of like, oh, what y'all doing over there? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the question was, who are we most surprised about?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the Saints, yes, I'm surprised, but it's not necessarily because of their talent level. We just hadn't seen it on the field. We haven't seen it mesh, and these guys came out like gangbusters. I'm like, wait a minute. Did we just get that wrong? Minnesota is just a complete shock because they're playing with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, but for what I've seen the Saints, though, it looks like that could be sustainable just because of the creativity on offense, and Kamara does look really good again. And maybe Carr was just being poorly coached for a little while, needed somebody to believe in him again and work to his strengths. And that, I mean, he looks strong. He looks strong.
Yeah. Rashid Shaheed is the real deal. I was like, great, yes, this. Oh boy, I'm trying to make fantasy moves right now to try to get some pieces from that high-powered Saints offense, and their defense is playing next level just as well. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to also sneak in real quick the surprise 0-2 team that is mind-blowing right now, the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
A big toe and a field goal. They could easily be 2-0 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had the extra few days to get ready to host a team that has Gardner Minshew as a quarterback. And
yeah, but that's
yeah, that was a loss I didn't see coming. I wasn't surprised that they'd lost, obviously, to the Chiefs on opening night. You're not going to be surprised if you lose to the Chiefs, but that was a little shocking. Again, they had the extra few days to get ready for the Raiders, and that was what they came up with on Sunday. That was kind of shocking. Yeah.
Yeah. So Baltimore. I talked to Scottie D earlier about our preseason predictions, who would win divisions, stuff like that. We've just been wrong.
Hopefully, nobody heard those episodes.
Just throw those episodes away. Like, good Lord. Yeah. But I mean, we are still very, very young.
Yeah. You can't overreact to that stuff. But
yes, we can. That's what we're here for.
But you already are
podcast. So
yeah, that's true.
We're recording on Monday. It has been dubbed Overreaction Monday. This is what we do. We take what is given to us, and holy crap, what is going on in the world today? Wow, Baltimore is 0-2. Want to throw something out there because you also mentioned about the Rams being 0-2. It is not easy road for them. Puka Nacua is probably going to be out for 5 to 7 weeks, and Cooper Kupp is still in a walking boot.
Oof.
So, yeah, that whole if they stay healthy that we talked about before, they're not staying healthy.
No.
So you go ahead and throw away you pretty much throw away my NFC West prediction because I picked the Rams to win the division, and I picked the 49ers to not even make it in at all, which they looked a little suspect against Minnesota, but they should win the division if the Rams are as hurt as they are.
You remember like the 49ers have an early season clunker every year and then go on a big streak.
They do. The thing about this, you remember last time the 49ers went to Minnesota, for some strange reason, man, they've been having a lot of trouble going to Minnesota. A lot of trouble.
Now, I got a question for y'all. Do y'all at all believe in the Arizona Cardinals?
I do not.
You do. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. scorched.
Yeah, he looks good.
I don't even think he had any other yards outside of the first quarter, but he scored for 130 yards in the first quarter or the first time. I think I saw something silly like that. But hey, some things the talking heads are right about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the league, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Marv.
Yeah, man. That's another surprise team. The Chargers at 2-0 are another surprise team. And B-Live, like you mentioned, on the other side of 2-0 is 0-2 in Baltimore. Like you said, it was between 3 points and a big toe.
Whew.
It was between 3 points and a big toe. So that's where we're at with that. Okay, so going into next week, fellas, got a lot of games on the slate. What are we looking forward? What game sticks out to us that we should all be looking out for? Which games you got for week 3?
Scottie D, I want you to go first because I want you to go ahead and get it out the way. I'm pretty sure my answer is the same, but I want you to go first.
Do you want me to say Cowboys and Ravens?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's one of them, obviously, because neither one of those Who do you think? Which of those teams do you think needs the win the most?
That is the $1 million question right there, because I don't think either one of these teams can afford to lose that one.
See, I kind of think the Ravens can afford it more than the Cowboys can.
0-3?
Yeah, because to me, their biggest competition in that division is the Bengals, who are currently sitting at 0-2. I've talked before about the Steelers having an excruciatingly tough back half of this schedule, so I think they could come. They'll come back. I mean, the Steelers aren't scoring. They've scored one touchdown in 2 games, so I'm not. I don't think they're getting too far ahead of the Ravens, even if the Ravens lose. And the Browns won a single game, and I can't rinse the taste of their week 1 debacle out of my mouth just yet. So I still think the teams to beat in that division, regardless of their records, are the Bengals and the Ravens. If the Cowboys lose, they're falling at 1-2, having lost 2 home games already. Depending on what Philadelphia does against Atlanta on Monday night, they could already be 2 games in the hole. And then, we're just talking about how good some of these other NFC teams are that we weren't giving credit for, as far as we're already going to be looking ahead at wild cards as opposed to divisions. So I think actually the Ravens going to 0-3 isn't the end of the world for them. It could be for the Rams, and they're playing the 49ers at home on Sunday. So that's a game that I kind of have circled, because I really think the Rams need a win, especially after what we saw from them on Sunday. But I'm not counting on them getting it with their 2 receivers and walking boots, and then they can't walk. Yeah, right. Neither receiver can walk. Two best receivers can't walk. So I think that's a critical game for the Rams, but I can't see them winning it. And the 49ers are not going to be in a good mood coming off of what they just had against Minnesota. So those are 2 of the games that it's hard to point out a game being crucial or critical in week 3, but if we're going to put a label on them, those are definitely 2 games you could certainly make that distinction.
Yep.
Well,
I'm
gonna throw one. Yeah, I do like that you pinpointed the 49ers Rams, because 49ers 1-1, Rams 0-2. Whoever loses that game is going to be in a hurt, and that's a division game, so that's almost like a 2-game swing.
Yeah, I don't think the Rams can come back from it if they lose that game.
Right. I'm going to pinpoint something that I didn't think was possible, but we could also be getting an NFC Championship preview based on the way they're playing. I think the Eagles win tonight, so they'll be 2-0, and the Eagles travel into New Orleans.
Ooh, game of the week.
Eagles. That is a crucial game right there. And that's one of those games where it's not necessarily where it's not a make or break your season, but it definitely is a talking point that gives you like that's that momentum builder. That's that one, the Saints, if the Saints win that game, ladies and gentlemen, the Saints are for real. You got to give it to them.
Yeah.
Like when they beat the brakes off the Panthers, it was like,
yeah, I saw that coming. Yeah.
Then when they beat the Cowboys, as much as the Cowboys are hyped and talked about,
it's like,
okay, we see you, because 47-44 consistent. Dallas maybe just a little overhyped, and that's what I'm saying. That almost is at a discredit to the Saints. So, but if they go and beat the Eagles right after that, now we're talking. Now we're cooking. Now let them cook.
Yeah,
the Saints. Yeah, that is that game that propels them up the proverbial power rankings that really mean nothing. It's just a talking point. But that's the one where you say, well, I be doggone.
And might I add, the Eagles playing on Monday night, then going on the road on a short week, puts the ball in the Saints' favor for that one. So that's something to look at as well.
Yep. So those games, those ones definitely stand out to me more than anything.
See anything different, Eddy Kool?
Oh, they're doing a stupid Monday night doubleheader next week. God, I hate that.
Who's playing?
It's not even a doubleheader. They're playing 2 games at the same time almost. Jaguars, Bills, Commanders, Bengals. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Commanders? I meant Redskins, no-name football team commander pickles. All right, I got to keep it consistent. Got to keep it consistent. All right.
All right, a game that's really flying under the radar. It involves two 2-0 teams in the AFC. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
I saw that on there. I saw that on there. The two surprise 2-0 teams.
Yeah.
So one of those teams will be 3-0.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you nobody on this program had either one of those teams at 3-0. So somebody's got to do it.
Was it episode 261? Just go and throw it away. Just go and throw that away.
Throw it all the way. Like, we said that the Steelers were not going to break 500. We said 7-10. We talked all types of trash about them, and they just, with one touchdown in 2 games.
I still think they finished under 500.
You're sticking to your guns.
I am absolutely.
I'm not convinced either.
I think they lose this week. I think the Chargers beat them.
Yep. I wasn't impressed with the Chargers, but it's just that's how bad the Panthers are. I wasn't impressed.
We stink, boy. We stink.
All we're doing, we're just making other teams feel good about themselves. The Saints are now world beaters, and the Chargers, you got them at 3-0. Oh boy, come on. We believe in you, Red Rocket. We don't, but it has to be better. He can't get any worse.
Really. Yeah, you're right about that. So we got that game,
18,
and then
18 completed passes for 82 yards, a whopping 4 yards a catch. 4 yards a catch. Where they do that at?
I don't know what is we gonna do, but it's just yeah, just stop crying. Stop crying. Don't don't do that. So you gonna do it. Oh Lord, somebody get him some warm milk and a hot bath. No, but yeah, so that's one game I'm willing to see because like you said, so far we've been jacking up all of our picks so far. So let's see, we got that one, and then let's see what we have here. Let's not forget about the Patriots because they went to Cincinnati and beat them. And Ramondre's running the ball, so let's just see what the Patriots do against the Jets. And let's just see, man. Gerard Mayo's like, look, we're going to do things a little different here. We're going to keep some tradition. We're going to keep it cool here. But I think they'll give it to Gang Green, give them all they can handle. All right, folks, we got 8 minutes left. You want to slide the B-Live top 5 real quick? It's going to take 8 minutes or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Week 3. Bring your behind. Bring your ass. Come on. Coming up next, we got your favorite top 5 coming at you right here. SportsBros Podcast. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, chicken farmers, city workers, head chefs, and Pinocchio. This is the B-Live top 5. You got to include everybody, B-Live.
Oh, my goodness. The world of college football. Y'all know how much I love college football. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something a little bit different this week because we got the AP top 25 that just rolled out on Monday. And my top 5 isn't that much different. 1 through 4 stay the same. Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Ole Miss. Yo, my bad. Did I also forget to throw in there that I switched Georgia and Texas? Texas is your new number 1. I also picked that as well. I picked that yesterday before the AP came out, but of course, the AP is a little bit bigger than my top 5. So Texas is your new number 1. And Arch Manning may have earned all of his NIL money. My bad. Arch Manning, I apologize for anything I said bad to you. I know I said you the top paid player in NIL and you ain't even started a game. You know what? My bad. I'm sorry to the entire Manning family. I was entirely disrespectful because this dude came in and was throwing dots. throwing dimes. Arch Manning, my bad player, my bad. Texas is number one because, good Lord, they got two quarterbacks that can put the ball on it. They did not miss a beat. Texas is the real deal. Boy, oh boy, that Texas-Georgia game is going to be huge. Huge.
Is that this week?
When is that, by the way? I didn't even look it up. Let's see. Come on, pull up and see me going around the mountain.
You had my hopes up for a second there. I thought maybe it was.
No, it's coming up soon.
Okay.
Nope. Where is it? Well, shoot,
it'd be nice if you could like set games up, like we make the schedule, because here's what I would do next week. I would pick Miami because they had a close one with Ball State. They beat them 62-0.
Oh boy,
I would have them take on Notre Dame, who rebounded. They won 66-7. So I'd have the two 60-point winning teams go against each other next week.
Talk at this point in time.
And then the winner would play Texas the following, because Texas only scored 56 points this week. They weren't as good this week as Miami and Notre Dame.
Whatever.
And then I would maybe have Tennessee play them, because Tennessee won 71-0 against Kent. That was a really good game. You were reading schedules or something. I was covering dead air.
Go
ahead.
I got the answer.
Back to you, dead air.
Cool, thank you. Why?
Back to you, dead air. Go ahead.
You did this on purpose. You asked me a question that I didn't have on the ready.
66 points for Notre Dame.
All right,
wow.
Georgia, Texas.
What a rebound.
In Texas is going to be on Saturday, October 19th. We're a little bit away from that.
Okay, we got time.
But we do have Georgia, Alabama 2 weeks from now.
Ooh.
That is a game. Yeah. I'm looking at this Georgia schedule. Georgia's got Alabama, then Auburn, then Mississippi State, then Texas, Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee. They have got 5 top 7 matchups in the next 8 weeks.
Oh, that's going to be tough to come out of that one.
Yeah,
especially because Ole Miss this year became the first team ever to get to 500 points in 3 weeks.
500 points in 3 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Being ridiculous. We're gonna switch sides, because I told you it wasn't much about the top 5, because they're gonna beat each other up. SEC does whatever. They're gonna have to reshuffle and everything like that. But yes, Texas is your new number 1. I gotta go to the not top 5. I have to go there. Eddy Kool, I'm apologize to you ahead of time. But I'm going to start off with Georgia at number 5. Georgia, you're supposed to be world beaters. You're supposed to be, this is easy work. And I'm going to give the Game Chickens a little bit of credit. The Game Chickens beat Kentucky 31-6. But you can only beat them by 1 point. You've got Game Chicken fans all out here feeling like they could do anything and all this great stuff. And man, oh man, because Georgia can only beat them by 1, we'll beat Georgia. Come on, let's not do that. Because at number 4, after careful consideration, at first I was going to put LSU as number 4 on my not top 5.
You remember when you said they only get destroyed? You remember you said we get destroyed by 30? But go ahead, be live. Go ahead.
But the reason why I was going to put LSU on there is because they only beat South Carolina by 3, and they were down 17-0 to the Game Chickens
by 10.
Where they do that at? Do you understand how many posts I had to see in my news feed when the Gamecocks were up by 17 points? And then LSU came back and they're all hurt, especially all the game chicken and Coop fans that were lined up ready to storm the field. And they ran down the student section, was ready to storm the field and lost. But LSU, I just realized I can't call you overrated, because y'all were dealing with a hurricane and couldn't practice since Wednesday. Y'all had a legit reason to not be prepared. And yet you still won. And so therefore my number 4 on my not top 5 is the South Carolina Gamecocks. You were up 17-0 and y'all failed to close the game out. Y'all had every reason in the world. But to this day, Game Chicken fans are still crying because that wasn't a horse collar tackle, and that wasn't a blindside block, even though the guy was looking this way and got hit this way. That wasn't a blindside block. That's just football. That rule was changed this year about the blindside block, and yes, that was a blindside block. It was an interception, Pixie. Oh, the refs don't like us. The refs are terrible. We would have won that game.
Finish the top five.
Y'all, it's not you, Eddy Kool, but man,
we're gonna be out of time. We're about to be out of time.
Number 3.
We're only at number 3.
Vanderbilt. We believed in you. Why?
Who is we?
We? Oh, no, don't you ask that question now.
Who is we?
Vanderbilt. We believed in you. Number 2, Mississippi State. We didn't believe in you, but you can't lose to a group of 5 team by 3 or 4 touchdowns. No, you can't do that. And number 1, again, Florida State. 0-3. They're 0-3. They paid Memphis $1.3 million for them to come into their house and lose. Florida State, just let it go. I'm out.
DJ Ukulele, Clemson's quarterback of the future.
Terrible.
Be Live, way to rub it in on your not top 5. I will say this, though. My boys didn't get destroyed by 30. They look good. The defense is fast and physical and flying all over the place. Only thing we got to do is stop committing dumb penalties and put 4 quarters of complete football together, and we're going to be all right. We're going to be okay. With that
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something real quick. Before we move on, I'm going to give prop and I'm going to give respect to where respect is due. I was hella disrespectful when I said that LSU would win by 35. LSU is terrible.
Terrible.
And y'all still managed to let them get back. No, my bad. I said I was going to be respectful. I was going to give respect where. Hey, your bookends on your defensive line, Kennard and Dylan Stewart, they the truth. I'm gonna give you that. Dylan Stewart is giving me Jadeveon Clowney vibes. Like that dude. I think they doubled him the majority of the game because they knew, and that allowed Kennard to do the things that he did. Unfortunately, Kennard did a little too much. Eddy Kool, can you convince the rest of your fan base that was a blindside block?
I know it's a blind. Hey, you know what? You know what comes to convincing people? The bad thing about convincing people, it don't pay enough. And with that being said, looking at my cell phone, because I've yet to get a watch, guess what time it is? Time out.
What's time?
Timeout. Whatever. I allow me to retort.
Okay.
Because I got to give my not top 3, which I'm going to go with Kent State because they lost 71-0.
Guess what time of the hell? No,
I'm going to go with Purdue because they lost 66-7.
No, we're not about to do this.
And Western Michigan lost 56-0 to Ohio State last week. And my top 3 are number 1, Ole Miss because they got Ole Miss scored 500 points in 3 games. Miami scored 56 last week at 62, so they're number 2. And number 3 in my top 3 is Pitt. Pitt is undefeated. P-I-T-T. Let's go, Pitt.
He has his own segment.
All right, here we go.
This is his segment.
We go to
Ole Miss, Miami, and Pitt. Those are my top 3.
He didn't hijack my segment when he has his own segment. Okay, cool.
I have my own segment?
I've lost control of the show, everybody. Choices of the voices.
When is my own segment?
After this, Lord,
you come up with the questions.
Here we go.
But we all play.
It's your segment. You come up with the questions. The choices of the voices. That's your baby. You come up with the questions each and every week.
I didn't realize.
You, Scottie D.
You
didn't realize that?
We're going into choices. Here we go. 3.
Over here, hijack my part of the segment. The heck
1.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and
Ever so lovely, Miss Button.
For introducing our favorite portion of the show, the choices or the voices. Lord, let me get this train wreck episode back on the damn tracks, all right? Scottie D comes up with the question. Y'all give us the answers. We talk about it. All depends on if you behave or not, if you can stay on focus and on topic. Scottie D, what's on tap for this week's choices or the voices?
Well, I think I asked last week, who did you think would be the number one team in the country? And Ole Miss was my choice. And let's see what the people said. No, actually, that's not what I asked. That wasn't it. I asked to tell us some of your favorite in-game announcer tandems in NFL history, past or present. And I guess we caught you on a bad week because not very many people responded to this, and there were some good ones to discuss. And so we're not going to go too in depth with it, but we did get a couple here, Eddy Kool.
All right, let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? Trey Dilson, he said, yeah. Anybody who says anything besides John Madden and Pat Summerall should be put thrown. Now, how you gonna be put and thrown? Should be thrown into the oceans and fed to the fish. Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad answer at all. Like, you know,
a surprisingly Dak-less answer.
Hey, remember last week we said that the time of the Dak jokes have come to an end.
And he complied at least for 1 week.
He complied. Yeah. I'm very proud of him. And then he had to see that display. It's one of those things where he mentioned this answer before the game and immediate regret that he did not trash talk Dak Prescott. It's immediate regret.
Yeah.
He's like, damn it. All right.
Okay, quick question. Since we're in this segment and since you interrupt segments like that, Scottie D, do you blame Dak Prescott for the loss, or was that more on the defense?
This week, Dak is in the back of the line when it comes to blame.
Okay.
When your defense gives up a scoring drive for a touchdown for the first 5 times the other team touches the ball, I can't get too much on the quarterback's case for that one. Because the Cowboys were still scoring. They just weren't scoring a touch on every single drive, that's high level stuff. The Saints were just high level, and the Cowboys defense was just miserably bad. So no, I have plenty of Dak hate saved up for later in this season. I'm going to bottle it up for the real for the games that they we really need to blame him. Yeah.
So you anticipate at some point in time that the Dak blame will come into play.
Oh yeah,
and I'll be here for it.
Oh yeah,
sure. Me and Stephen A. Smith cannot wait for
it. Can't wait. All right, our Hall of Famer Uncle Max said Trey is correct. On the college side, for him it has to be Keith Jackson and Lynn Swann. They should be on ABC. Right?
Yeah, that was good. Well, yeah, I forgot about Lynn Swann doing games with Keith Jackson. Yeah, that was a good combo.
Hey guys, Keith Jackson here. Good old Keith. I used to like Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson, cool.
You know what combination I would like to hear in college football just one time? I know it will never happen because neither one of them are play-by-play commentators of color. I would love Nick Saban and Pat McAfee. I feel like that's just two contrasting skill sets. Like I can see
did not look like
Adam. What you gotta say?
I would say it didn't look like McAfee or Saban was enjoying McAfee's company on the set of game day last week.
Nick is like, I retired and come for this mess.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Bill Belichick is on what is he now? Is he about to be a regular on the Manning cast now? Because he was there last week and that's gonna be there tonight. Like, okay, Bill. Okay.
Oh, he is? Yeah.
Yep.
We're just trying to get ready for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Just trying to get ready for Cincinnati.
That's all we got to try and get.
See, I don't want to listen to Belichick because when we asked him stuff before that was important, he wouldn't say anything. Just trying to get ready for Cincinnati. Just trying to get ready for Cincinnati. Don't come at me now and act like Mr. Nice Media guy whenever you're such a jerk to the media in the past before. And no, stop with that.
Oh, yeah, come on. That was part of his mantra.
I never liked Belichick for that. No, I didn't like it. Parcells did a little of that too. Parcells was tough with the media. Then he became media. Then he went back to coaching. It was a little bit better. But yeah, Belichick, there's nothing to like about Belichick. I'm sorry. No.
All right. So that being said, shout out to Trey Dizzle and Uncle Max for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scottie D, who you got? Favorite play-by-play in color tandem?
Well, Madden, Summerall are the top of the mountain. They've been said. So I'll go and tell you who I think, no matter who you put with him, the team is successful, and that is Al Michaels. And when I was growing up, and Al Michaels was with Frank Gifford and Howard Cosell, there will always be something special about that, because back then Monday Night Football was the special game. Now we got games on Thursdays, Sunday nights, sometimes Saturdays, Mondays, Wednesday on Christmas. But it used to be Sunday, and then there was one extra game, and that was on Monday night. And those guys were the voices that brought that to you. And so there would always be something special to me about Al Michaels. But then he paired up with Madden. It was excellent. Him paired up with Chris Collinsworth, I thought was excellent. And people really tear into Chris Collinsworth a lot, especially here in this Western Pennsylvania area. Everyone thinks that Collinsworth hates the Steelers, but whatever. What do I care? But I just, Al Michaels and anybody is good for football, I think. And you know what? And I never thought I was going to be I didn't think Troy Aikman had it in him to be a good broadcaster, because his personality with the Cowboys was flat. He gave you nothing. He would say routine things, things that you would expect people to say in interviews. He didn't seem like overly, he didn't have a Gronk personality. He was just kind of a quiet guy. But him and Joe Buck have been an excellent team. So there's a couple that I like. The SportsBros Podcast. Who do you got over there?
Jokes.
Who do you got, SportsBro?
We gotta be live.
Well,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch you texting there. I know you got other things to do. Go ahead.
You done?
Yeah, you done. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
I'm waiting for you. Do you need me to cover more dead air time for you here? Because I can do that. I got
go ahead.
Podcasters I can bring up.
No, it's okay, because he likes to hear himself talk. He about to be Skip Bayless to my Shannon Sharp.
Kettle.
No, but go ahead. Hey, look, just don't press record, but go ahead.
Are we recording, by the way? I hope we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are.
That's not always a given.
Watch it, Junior. One time, and you getting me? Are you serious? Out of 270 episodes.
It was my best work ever. Anyway, good.
I agree with you, Scottie D, when it comes to Al Michaels. Al Michaels, literally, he worked with so many different commentators, and he was magic. My favorite Al Michaels moment was when he flat out just told everybody that he don't care for Taylor Swift at all. He said I was like, oh, that is that old man syndrome where he don't give a damn about what y'all. He said, I don't like this at all. But no, Al Michaels. I grew up when I really started watching Monday Night Football. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. It was synonymous with Monday Night Football, and then hearing him with John Madden was just next level. And so,
I get goosebumps thinking about that pairing. Actually,
right? You know what I'm saying? Because you really wanted to listen to the game as well as the commentary. Now it's sort of like some of the commentary we can go without, some of the over the top stuff, some of the dead air that we have from time to time. And then when you get the backup broadcasts and people that are up and coming. But it was one of those things, you knew when Al Michaels was on the commentary team, you were going to get pure gold. Mm-hmm. And so Al Michaels, I agree with you, Scottie D. This is a very rare moment. Bookmark it, document it, take a picture. This is a moment that I agree 100% with Scottie D. Yes, sir.
Ooh, it's going to snow in mid-September. Oh, shuck it, duck it, quack, quack. They agreeing. They cat dogging out there agreeing. Let me hold on to my good draws. All right, with that being said, that goes to me.
We actually get along in real life. This
They
is
do.
sort of a online persona.
The gimmick, the shtick,
But
if you will.
We do?
We do?
Anyways,
Yes. Yes, Scotty
so like
D,
I
we
was
do
saying,
get along.
oh Lord. So like I was saying, you can't go wrong with John Madden and Pat Summerall here in Texas Stadium, where the Cowboys host against division rival Philadelphia Eagles. Games like that, you know what I'm saying? Just to hear like Pat Summerall talking, and you got John Madden. Well, you see here, you got the boom going on there, the boom going on there, and John Madden busting through your TV screen, tearing stuff up in your living room and all that stuff. Like John Madden was once saying, I tore through more pieces of paper and items than any man in the history of the world. So one of my all-time favorites, man, has to be John Madden and Pat Summerall, mainly because if there's a camera shot pan at Cortez Kennedy and Rick Meyer on the sideline eating hot dogs, John Madden will say something about that, and they're on the sideline there and they're eating hot dogs. And I think the score was like 10-7, and they still had 10. Nope, they in the third quarter on the sidelines eating hot dogs. That early, some of that early Fox stuff, man, it's classic. And also, you can find like a lot of those games scattered all throughout YouTube. I shouldn't have said that, but it is what it is. And you get to hear some real, and you get to hear some real, color commentary, play-by-play goal, and then you can't go wrong with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. As polarizing duo to some people as they are, they're good at what they do. There's a reason why ESPN said, "Hey, we need you over here. We see what you're doing over there with Fox, but we need you over here." So I think it's money well spent. And then, like you said, be live. Al Michaels with anybody. Namely Dan Dierdorf and Frank Gifford. And at the time I was watching Monday Night Football, I only knew Frank Gifford as Kathy Lee's husband. But then I got older and found out how big of a deal he was playing football back in the 40s, was it? Yeah, I didn't know Frank was that damn old. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to say John Madden, Pat Summerall, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Al Michaels and anybody else. I know we said one, but I went three. And with that being said,
yeah, that's good. That's good though, because I mean, we didn't get a lot of answers, but there have been some, like the Jim Nantz, Phil Simms team on CBS. Oh, yeah. That was a good one for a lot of years. And one that gets overlooked a lot, and it wasn't necessarily my favorite, but it was one that I kind of got used to. But we listen now, and Sunday nights like the biggest. It's became like the Monday Night Football marquee game now goes to Sunday nights, but Sunday night game used to be Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann and Paul McGuire on ESPN. Remember in the early days, the Sunday night game, ESPN had it. And I've always thought Paul McGuire was a little too hung up on trying to spot the ball. Like, that's going to be short of a first down. And him and Theismann had their little silly banter. But I thought Mike Patrick was like very good as a quote unquote straight guy for those telecasts back in those days. That Sunday night, that original Sunday night team. So shout out to that team, because that's one that gets really far overlooked. I think actually McGuire moved into a regular role on one of the CBS teams, or these things that the different networks have had different coverages through the years. But I did like Mike Patrick with those two clowns, so to speak. Back they'd be clowning around Summerall and a big thumbs down actually to Dennis Miller. He should have never been in the Monday Night Football booth.
Ever.
Oh my God.
Never.
That shouldn't have happened.
We could have went on this podcast and not mentioned his name at all.
Strangely enough, Dennis Miller was in the booth during that crazy season that Al Michaels had what I thought was one of his better calls, was when Antonio Freeman of the Packers was sliding and kind of juggling the ball on the turf, and he said, he did what? Yeah. He got around him, and then that was the game that was also the same season that I think the Dolphins and the Jets had that big Monday night back and forth epic, and then one of the linemen catch the winning touchdown pass, and they like fumbled the ball around him.
Jumbo Elliott.
It was a jumbo. Yeah. It was a crazy game, and I remember thinking, man, there's some really good games this year, and Dennis Miller's getting to do them all. But anyway, that was an experiment that went awry. Anyway, so
he did more getting in the way, if anything.
Yeah.
Scottie D, I got a question because I was looking through just different stories and everything when it came to commentators throughout the course of time. This was before my time. Well, not necessarily before my time. I was 2, 3 years old. But O.J. Simpson was on the call for Monday Night Football.
Sideline reporter.
Do you remember that at all?
Vaguely, I know OJ was in there, and Joe Namath was in there at one point, I think, briefly, and Dandy Don Meredith. Yeah, they had a different. I don't remember a lot about OJ. I don't. I can remember like just seeing him on the screen with Howard Cosell, but I don't remember a lot about that. I was keep in mind I was pretty young at that point too, so I was allowed to watch like the first half and then bedtime. At that point.
Ooh, we break it.
I just wanted to see if you had any input. I appreciate that though, no doubt. All right.
That's one best for Uncle Max. He'd probably tell you all about it.
That's it. Breaking news real quick, fellas. Wisconsin quarterback Tyler Van Dyke is out for the season after he tore his ACL during Saturday's game versus Alabama. Yuck. Yeah.
Well, that changes everything.
Yep. Hell of a way to...
Don't do that.
Oh, boy. Stop that. Scottie D, what's on tap for next week?
What we got to have on tap for this coming week, since I'm hijacking, and we're going to reach out to the people with this question when it comes to the NFL. There are iconic NFL intros. Which one do you think is the best? We have NFL on Fox, NFL on CBS, NFL on NBC, or NFL on ESPN, ABC. Which one of the theme songs do you think is the best? And we'll talk about it next week.
That'll give us something to talk about
next week, Eddy Kool. Of the voices.
We'll go with that. I like it.
Damn, y'all just hijacking roles and taking over.
Hijack.
With that being said, who hosting next week?
Yes, sir.
Who the hell is hosting next week? I better watch my back. Somebody might be coming for my neck and nap pretty soon. Oh no.
That's a good one though. I like it.
That's a good one. I like that.
I like it.
Yep. So I think apparently Michael Parsons has something to say about Bryce Young being benched, but Michael Parsons, you got bigger problems to worry about, all right?
He had something to say.
He's going live. He's going live on Bleacher Report. You can't see it, so he's talking. So,
buddy, okay, little buddy.
But we'll wait a while for that. Coming up next, B-Lab, get to grabbing that darn pepper grinder. Coming up next is Around the Pepper. You know how we do it right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. You ready, fellas?
The last person needs to be saying anything right now because he was on that defense that got 44 points put on their head.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, well, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, Around the Pepper, you know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. The 4 E's in no particular order. With that being said, gentlemen, I'll go first. I'm pretty sure we all can appreciate this one. On this day in history, back in 1920, the NFL is born right down the road here in Canton, Ohio, where 12 teams pay $100 each to join the American Professional Football Association, later renamed the NFL, in 1922. So on this day in history,
$100.
Yeah, a whole $100. A whole $100 you can take your team and join the league. Must be nice. Well, over to you, Scottie D.
This past weekend was a good fight weekend. The love letter to Mexico as the UFC fought in the Sphere. It was quite a spectacle. It was almost like the UFC, the cage was down in front of like his giant like Disney type of entertainment. It was quite a spectacle, and then the audience was like kind of float up behind. Really unique look to it. And then the fights happened, and there were a lot of good fights that night. A lot of Mexican fighters in the cage for that event. Valentina Shevchenko fought Alexa Grasso in the first ever female trilogy in the UFC. Alexa Grasso had upset Shevchenko for her title about a year and a half ago. I forget when it was. Anyway, and then they had a draw the second time, a split decision draw the second time. And this time Shevchenko slammed the door on the idea that there could be a fourth fight by dominating her. She won 5 rounds to none. It was very simple. And it was a lot of ground and pound. She took her down, ground and pound. Was not the most exciting fight. And then the main event was Merab Devashvili, or however you say his name, taking on the Sugar Show. Merab, everyone called him Merab. And then he took on the Sugar Show. And it was a case of Merab circling, tackling, and riding him out. And it's awful. You know, I love the UFC, but when you have a fight as those two were, where one only wants to wrestle and the other doesn't really have an option because you get tackled and held down, it really makes it tough for a tough viewing night. So I watched 2 25-minute fights of one person laying on top of the other, and it just wasn't the best. And you know, the right person won both fights, but come on, UFC. I want to watch the Ultimate Fighting Championships, not the Ultimate lay on a dude and win his title championship. Be live, over to you.
Some of those fights are they're so hard to watch because they call it technical, and it's like, yo, no, I want to see some violence.
Yeah, the wrestlers, the guys who commit totally to wrestling, they just put on boring fights. And I know they're good, but whatever.
Yeah, but I still won't be sold to be watching that power slap mess. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
God bless America. Speaking of wrong things that's going on in the sports world, my first pepper point sort of hits close to home because we're talking about a star catcher that graduated from Coastal Carolina University out of Myrtle Beach, Conway, South Carolina, CCU, from Chanticleers. And he was a 6th-round draft pick out of Coastal Carolina this past July in the Major League Baseball draft. And I'm talking about a man by the name of Derek Bender. The Minnesota Twins drafted him, and he was playing for the Twins single-A affiliate, the Fort Myers Mighty Mussels. And mussels, we're talking about these shellfish.
Gotcha.
But yes. There was a second game of the September 6th doubleheader. This happened a little over a week ago. Derek Bender, told multiple hitters for the Lakeland Flying Tigers, a Detroit farm team, Detroit Tigers. He was like, hey, he's about to throw a fastball. He's about to throw a curveball low and inside. He was tipping off the pitches to the hitters.
He was more than tipping them.
Yeah. Jeez. And Lakeland scored 4 runs in the second inning. Lakeland ended up winning the game 6-0 to clinch the Florida State League West Division and eliminate the Mighty Mussels from playoff contention after Fort Myers had held a 6-game lead 3 weeks earlier. The kicker to this story is the fact he did this because he was tired and wanted to go home. He didn't want to go into a playoff and spend even less time with his family. He just wanted to go home. And I guarantee you just found a way to spend a lot of time with your family because the Minnesota Twins released them entirely. Thank you for playing. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Spend all the time with your family. Eddy Kool, the ball.
The hell you do some mess like that for? For real. The hell you do some mess like that for? All right, well, hopefully I got some better news for you here. Actually, no, I got my purple points mixed up. But guess what? In the traditional Florida State, now going 0-3, guess how much they paid to take this ass whipping against Memphis? They paid $1.3 million. Come on, come on. Step right on up. Come line up. Try your luck against Florida State University. And if you win, they'll pay you $1 million+. Over to you, Scottie D. Ought to be ashamed of their damn selves.
So last week I went on a little bit of a mini rant about Pat Narduzzi, the head coach of Pitt.
Uh-oh.
And how I didn't really like the way he managed the clock and everything. And I said he relied on analytics and he was too old for that. Remember that, guys? I kind of went off a
Yes.
little bit.
Yeah.
Well, this week was the backyard brawl, WVU at Pitt, and we had us another close game. And again, Pitt came out on top, so I should be happy. But late in the game, Pitt needed a stop to get the ball back, trailing 34-31. They're trailing, right? Okay. So Pitt gets a big-time sack with 2 minutes and 9 seconds remaining to get the ball back. It was a 3rd and long. Pitt gets a sack, 2 minutes, 9 seconds remaining. Pitt has 2 timeouts. And then they burn one right there, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Why is that a big deal? Well, because now there is a 2-minute warning in college football. So I ask you, should you not let the 9 seconds run down? And then immediately after, WVU is going to be punting, which stops the clock on a change of possession. And now Pitt, with approximately 1:50, maybe a little bit more than that, will have 2 timeouts in which to drive the length of the field and score a touchdown or kick a field goal. But no, they opt to take the timeout. The punt lasts 9 seconds, and there goes the timeout. Now, when you come back after the break, you only have 1 timeout with the 1:50 seconds. Do I have to come down there and explain that to you, Narduzzi? Do I have to? Maybe because I've been spending my Sundays watching NFL. Maybe you've been watching film of college, and you don't realize how the 2-minute warning works. But are you kidding me with that? You don't know how to do the math on that. Save your 2 timeouts, and you get a bonus 1 with the 2-minute warning. Don't make me come down there. Don't make me come down there. Be live. Maybe they shouldn't be top 3. Maybe I was a little getting a little excited with that because they won. Anyway,
if he goes to Pitt, be live, we got to go with him.
Over to you, B.
Right. You gonna hire us to your staff, sir? I'm here for it.
I think Clemson's in town again this year.
Oh boy,
interesting.
I'll have to.
Do we care anymore?
Boy. Hey, look, it was a fun time to be had. It was definitely a fun time to be had. Now, speaking of Clemson and all roads lead to Dabo, we had a very interesting NFL matchup this week between the Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Very good. Very good matchup.
Which everybody that knows anything about Clemson football was watching that game, because our 2 best quarterbacks ever to wear the orange and the white and the purple faced off against each other in Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. What made this matchup interesting, though, however, is that, as we know, Trevor Lawrence just signed a new contract where he got paid. I think he's getting paid $55 million a year for 5 years. Second highest, tied for the second highest in NFL history, second only to Dakota Prescott. Yes. But also part of an endorsement deal with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a spokesperson for Everbank. Everbank is the name sponsor of the Jaguar Stadium. So Trevor Lawrence, in his endorsement deal with Everbank, was like, hey, for 1 game, it'd be nice for the Everbank Stadium to be named the Trevor Bank Stadium or Trevor.
Oh, that's a reach. That is a reach.
What do you mean it's a reach?
That's a reach.
What do you mean it's a reach? The Trevor Bank Stadium. That was the name of the stadium.
Scottie D, what's the pronunciation of again, Scottie D?
Trevor.
Go ahead, B. I'm sorry.
That Trevor. I had to emphasize that, or the Trevor Bank Stadium. So it was the name of the stadium for this week only. And the Jaguars lose to the Browns. God almighty. Yep, Trevor Lawrence. This is your stadium. You know, I've been talking about crazy bowl games and the stadium names. What was it? Florida International, the 305 Pit Bull Stadium.
Yeah.
Hey, yay. Yeah, the Trevor Banks Stadium, and the Jaguars taking L. Eddy Kool, the ball.
I want somebody to name a stadium after me one day. I guess I better get
Hey,
to doing.
we're still working on the Sports Bros podcast presents the Myrtle Beach Bowl. We're still working on that.
Make it happen, doggone it. Make it happen. Make it happen. Call us. All right. All right, fellas. So Asia Wilson missed everything in the WNBA. She adds another accolade to her season. All right. She becomes the first player in the history of the league to reach 1,000 points in a season as the Aces defeat the Connecticut Sun, according to the Associated Press. Asia Wilson became the first player in WNBA history to score 1,000 points in the season when she finished with 29 in the Vegas Aces' 84-71 win over the Connecticut Sun on Sunday. Wilson hit a pull-up from the elbow with 2 minutes left to reach this mark earlier this week. The Aces star broke the single-season record set that Jewel Lloyd set last year. Vegas called a timeout about 30 seconds after later, and her teammates mobbed Wilson. All right, the Aces are 25-13 and hold a 1-game lead over Seattle. Over Seattle, I forgot their name, but they hold it over Seattle. Bro, they don't have the name on here. Over Seattle for the number 4 seed.
Kraken. They're the Kraken.
The Kraken.
No.
Hey, what about that Utah Hockey Club? Anyways, Squirrel. For the home court advantage in that series. Las Vegas has won 7 of its last 8 games. Connecticut trails the Minnesota Lynx by 2 games for the number 2 seed. The 2 teams play in Connecticut on Tuesday. So, hey, man, so shout out to Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson, man, getting it in from South Carolina, you know what I'm saying? Making it happen, man. Winning more stuff. Got to get that get back from losing to LSU this past weekend. Over to you, Scottie D. Get back.
Recently, Dakota Prescott signed a contract for how much was it, Be Live? 4 years?
4 years, $240 million with $231 million guaranteed.
And then went to the podium and said it was never about the money. Okay, we'll just put a pin in that one. Because on Monday afternoon, Sidney Crosby of the Penguins signed a new 2-year extension. Crosby had been making $8.7 million per year on his recent deal that was just about to come due. He's on his last year on it, and he signed a new contract that is going to pay him $8.7 million a year for the next 2 years. He was expected to get a 4-year deal over $10 million and play a little bit hardball with the Penguins, but he opted instead to go for the $8.7 million so his team could sign other players and take one last run of the Stanley Cup. Now, if you want to tell me that contract is because it's not all about the money, I will believe that guy. I believe you, Sidney Crosby, and thank you for winning championships for my favorite hockey team, something that Dakota Prescott does not do for my football team. Do better. Do better. That's how it's done. Be live.
This brings so much joy. This brings. Where are you going? Come back here.
You know, do your thing, man. Do your thing.
You come back here and say, because I need you here for this one. I need you here for this one because it brings me so much joy. September 10th, new rankings came out. I know we're in the middle of football season and football. No, this is not foot. It has nothing to do with football whatsoever. The World Dance Sport Federation, known as WDSF, the World Dance Sport Federation released new worldwide rankings for all of their dancers. When I say dance sport, it includes the art form that is known as breaking or break dancing.
No.
Do you want to know who claimed the top spot in the world in breakdancing?
No, not that person again. Not that person again.
Yes, it is that person again. Australian breaker Rachel Gunn, the Olympian widely known as B-Girl Ray Gunn.
Ray Gunn's back.
She is recognized as the number 1 breaker in the world. Even though she scored 0 points during the Olympics, she is recognized because she won the gold medal at the 2023 World Dance Sport Federation Oceania Championships, securing her 1,000 ranking points and vaulting her up to number 1. I cannot believe it. Yes, Ray Gun is the number 1 breaker in the world.
What about Turbo? Where's Turbo ranked?
The WDSF, the World Dance Sport Federation, does not recognize the Olympics as part of their ranking system and everything like that. So despite her performance, the last ranking performance was that 2023 championships, and Ray Gun is the number 1 breaker in the world. Yeah, that's my third and final pepper point. To the world of breaking, do better.
Oh, you got to.
Something. You this can't be real life. United States Breaking Association, go into the inner cities. I guarantee you'll find better breakers. I guarantee you there are better breakers in the world. Just come on.
Our worst breakers are better than that.
I mean, come on, bro.
Well, all right.
And in closing,
all those things. Do something nice.
Yep.
And do something
and in
for your
closing,
loved
do something
ones.
nice for yourself if you can.
We hijacking the Scottie D.
We'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. Be a blessing, not a burden. I don't care what they do or say. This has been another episode of the SportsBros Podcast.
We go to the Cheesecake Factory. Yes, sir.
Woo! Educate, enlighten, entertain, and all
we going bowling, baby. We going bowling.
Thanks for listening and watching. See y'all next week.
Hey, it's Eddy Kool here from the SportsBros Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the SportsBros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.